Hey guys, Chris here from Cyber City Circuits, and we have a fun new kit for you guys. This month we did the Cyber City Circuits Genius game. Some of you guys may recognize this as the old classic Simon Says game. Dump all the parts out here and see what we have. Set this guy to the side. So we've got our PCB for all of our components, and you can see we've got A, B, C, D quadrants. We've got a 9-volt battery, our 9-volt battery wires. Let's see, our Arduino Nano, so that we can reprogram this yet later with the USB cable. Set that guy off to the side. Now this one does come preloaded with software for this game, but if you wanted to tweak it later, you could. We've got our speaker. Set that guy up here. Some buttons, 4 buttons for the game. We have a red LED, a blue LED, a yellow, and a green. We have a 100 ohm resistor, 4 1K resistors, 1K ohm, 1000 ohms. We've got some headers for the Nano to plug in, and then our male headers for the actual Nano itself, and then our on-off switch. So the first thing that we will do to get started is normally lower components to the board first, so closest to the board. So we'll start with our resistors and we'll kind of work our way up from there. So I'll take the 100 ohm first. We'll bend the legs on it. This guy actually helps reduce the current, or regulates the current going to our speaker. So R1 is right in the center of the board. That's where this guy will go. I'll just flip it over there and solder it in place. I'll go ahead and nip these guys off. Again, make sure that you're wearing your safety glasses for nipping these things. We don't want them to go all over the floor and all over the house or office or wherever you're at. So our 100 ohm is in. Next we'll do the 4 1Ks. So I'm going to bend all of the legs on those guys in one shot. And our 1Ks are controlling the current to the LEDs. So see, we'll have 4 of them. R2, R3, R4, and R5. Alright, so all spread out. And when soldering, we want to make sure that we're touching the pad and the leg at the same time, so we're heating up both the board and the component leg together, so that solder will fill and flow right into the hole. Then we'll trim all of these guys. Alright, next what we'll install is going to be our buttons. So our buttons go in quadrant A, B, C, and D. And you'll see they really only go in one way. And they'll just kind of snap into place. We make him bend the legs on those just a little bit. Make it tight in there. What I've even done before is just kind of pinch the legs together just a little bit before I put it in. So it makes a good hard mechanical grab. And I'll do these one at a time. I'm going to do one leg. Make sure that I like it. Make sure that it's in there straight. And then I'll do the other 4, or the other 3 rather. And then we'll go ahead and do the other 3 in the same way. Alright, now that we're happy with our buttons, we're going to jump to the next step and install all of the red, or all of the LEDs. So our LEDs are the same thing. We have our quadrants to make up the game, so A, B, C, and D. And you'll notice on the silk screen itself is the labels for which color. Now on your LEDs, your long pin is going to be your positive. And you'll notice that the holes themselves are actually marked. So you want to make sure that you get your long leg and your positive marked, or your round hole, and your ground is going to go in your square hole. So what we'll do here is just slide it in. Just like with the resistors, We'll bend the legs out just a little bit just to hold it in place. And I'm going to do all 4. Alright, so all of those guys are in. I'm going to flip it over. It makes a little table. Solder these guys. Now if these guys are a little bit crooked or you don't like them, you can actually heat the pads back up before you cut it and just kind of put them right in place where they need to go. I'm actually pretty happy with these. They look pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and nip all of these. Alright, and our next step, our next highest component is going to be the switch that goes right here in the middle. Now the orientation on this does not really matter. We just want to make sure that it's held very well. So I'm actually probably going to hold this one and at least put solder one pin in to make sure that it's straight. Look at it from this side. It's a little bit crooked, so what I want to do is heat it back up. Using my finger on the bottom, I'll just hold it and I'll pull it straight. And then tack the other 2 down. Now the pins on this switch are a little bit long, and I feel like if I'm playing this game they're going to poke me, so I'm just going to nip those off as well. Alright, so our next component, we're going to put the speaker on. Now the speaker is polarity biased, so you'll notice here on the tag that there is a positive label, and there's a positive label on the board, so I need to make sure that I put it on the right orientation. And I'll flip this guy over, let it rest, and solder one leg on it, and again make sure that it looks flat and in place. It is. Solder the other one. And just like with the switch, these leads are a little bit long, so I'm just going to nip them off. Alright, so we're getting there. Next comes the fun one. So with the Arduino Nano, there's a little trick to make sure we keep the spacing just right. So what I'll do is slide the female headers in first, and I will put the male headers in next. You notice how weebly wobbly they are here. Once we put this guy on, we want to make sure that we line up all the pins just right. But this guy will actually hold our spacing for us, just like that. So it's now a nice brick. And what I'll do is tack 4 corners, flip it over, and tack the bottom 4 corners, make sure it's all straight before I go down and do all of the pins. As you solder it, you'll see it get stiffer and stiffer because you're creating mechanical bonds as well. Alright, so we look pretty straight from the top. So now I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to tack just a couple of pins, make sure that I'm down all the way, and it looks good. Alright, I'm down all the way in the back. Make sure I'm all the way down in the front. Not quite. I don't know if you can notice there on camera, but it's raised just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is heat it back up, see if I can get it on camera. I'm going to heat it back up and just push down with my finger, and it should lock right into place, and it did. So now, mechanically it's there, everything looks good. I'm going to go solder all of my pins. You can see it's kind of bouncing around on me. It's not really even. There are some tools that you can actually buy, this being one of them, that I could actually hold this PCB in. It's just a PCB clamp. You'll see now it holds it very stable for me. And I can just go through here and solder. I don't know if the camera is catching it or not, but I have a fume extractor in the back that's actually sucking all the fumes away, so I'm not breathing them. Then what I can do now is flip this guy over, spin it around this way. Just makes a nice little clamp. And then I will do all of my top pins that I have not gotten yet. And using this socket method actually allows us to take this nano off and use it for other projects if we want. So the USB cable that was provided with the kit, you can actually go up and get the software and make some changes. Default firmware is 10 rounds. But if you wanted to change it, to say 5 rounds, make it a little bit easier, or 20 rounds and make it crazy, or change the timing between, how fast the lights are shown or anything like that, feel free to go get the code and just play with it. And send us videos of what you've done, because we like checking out all the cool projects that are out there. The last thing I need to do is plug my wires. I'm going to go in from the bottom. So again, it's labeled positive and negative. Your red wire is your positive on your 9 volts, and your black wire is your negative. So I want to make sure we get those guys in the right holes. Now I've got a better sealed connection back here. I'm going to peel my sticker off of the speaker and open up my 9-volt battery. And let's see what happens. So my switch is currently off. Got my battery here. Let's turn it on. Alright, looks like everything's working. Green. See if I can beat it first try. This is too easy. Uh-oh. So this goes for 10 rounds. And if I lose, it gives me the losing tone. If I win, then it gives me a winning tone. So just to reset, there's a reset button right here on the Nano that I can hit, and it will start the game over for me, or I could turn it off, turn it back on, and just have fun playing with this. We appreciate you guys, and we look forward to next month. Thank you guys.